I'm just putting it out in the universe. It's going to happen. We're going to be Bulgaria next year.
The next year,
remaking Uncle Sam.
Next year we're going to be starting, and we're going to be starting production on Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam.
Yep.
You guys
Uncle
want to
Sam.
blow our
reboot.
You
Yeah.
guys want to blow our hypothetical
the
budget
gritty
on Uncle Sam?
Yeah, we're going to make it good.
We're gonna make Uncle Sam a good movie.
Make Uncle Sam great again. That's what we're doing.
Uncle Sam great again.
That's what we're doing.
This is
God,
where we're at.
there's our marketing campaign. There's our marketing
There's
campaign.
our
Wait,
make Uncle
be,
Sam.
it could be called Uncle Sam 2, Make Sam Great Again.
Yep, there we go.
Wow.
But if we go with make Uncle Sam great again, that means our acronym is gonna be MUZGA.
Muzga.
It's Uncle Sam.
Hashtag MUZGA.
It's Uncle Sam, 4th of July. That's what
4th of July. Oh, we're making it better already. We are.
That's what we'll do.
Michael, save me.
You're listening to a Cult Talk Network podcast.
Welcome everyone to the Cult of Campbell. I'm Ty.
I'm Ian.
Eric.
And I'm Ben.
Today's episode, we are taking a look at the 2013 Evil Dead remake, Evil Dead.
Yay.
Excellent.
Yes, it was directed by, here it comes, Fede Alvarez.
Fede Alvarez.
Fede Alvarez. Yes. Produced by Robert Tapert, Sam Raimi,
Rip Tapert. Rob Rip Tapert.
Rob Rip Tapert, Sam Raimi, and Bruce Campbell. Groovy. Now, I was really impressed with the budget, so I'm gonna jump to that real quick.
Let's
For
hear
the
it.
cast, their budget was $17 million.
17 million.
Which, by the way, if you look at this film, that was $17 million well spent.
Well spent.
Yeah.
Well spent.
Guess what their box office was?
Let's hear it.
97.5 million.
Damn.
Yeah, they did great.
In a world full of sequels, how the hell did that not get a sequel?
Seriously. And of course, it was starring Jane Levy, Shiloh Fernandez, Lou Taylor Pucci, Jessica Lucas, and Elizabeth Blackmore.
So the budget for the original was $375,000.
$375,000. Wow. That's quite a difference.
Yeah. I would love to have $375,000 to make a movie.
Oh my gosh. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Oh, yeah.
Could you just imagine the things we could do with that kind of a budget?
Don't feel like a lot.
No.
Oh, my
Oh
God.
man, I could stretch
Yeah.
that.
Well,
I would have
if you guys want to see us go to Bulgaria to remake,
We're not
Uncle
going to
Sam,
Bulgaria.
$37,000. You get us a pretty
If the
decent
price is
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
We just won't have fake beards. We won't.
Oh,
we
yeah.
won't work with those fake beards.
that's Billy Zane money right there.
That is.
Yep.
Anyway,
Anyway, let's go ahead and let's get on to the movie and let's go and let's get groovy.
Grab your broomstick and fire up the Delta. It's time for ACTION. Join the Cult of Campbell. Groovy.
And if you're lucky a little later, I'll let you play with my boomstick.
So we just finished watching Evil Dead 2013, the remake, the reboot, whatever you want to call it.
That's right.
Eric, was this your first time watching Evil Dead?
This was my first time watching the remake of Evil Dead. It was a horrifying experience.
It was.
This was a horror, and I mean that in the best way. This movie had me screaming.
Yeah, this was I think my third time watching because I know I went and see it in theaters. I bought it on Blu-ray. I watched it when I got it on Blu-ray,
Wow.
and I don't think I watched it since. And not of just like not because I didn't want to. I think I just kind of got lost in my collection.
Right.
But this is my third time watching it, and there was some stuff I forgot about. I forgot how horrific it was. Like there were certain scenes that stuck out to me that I knew were coming in there that I was shocked by. But there was some in there that I had totally forgotten about until it happened, and then it was terrifying.
This was my second time watching it. I watched it a while back, close to when it came out, and then I hadn't seen it since. I remembered liking it, but not like, I don't know, I didn't love it for whatever reason, but like, it's actually pretty good. Like, yeah.
So yeah, I would actually classify this as a reimagining. I don't think it's not a reboot because it doesn't reset the timeline, and it's not a remake because there's completely whole new characters. So
Right.
So I think I would classify this as a reimagining.
But if you go off the interview, we read earlier, it sounds like to me it's meant to be some kind of like
it's
sequel.
a pseudo sequel as well to the
Yeah,
first one
right.
apparently. So I went and saw this in theaters, and I remember the reaction being really positive. I enjoyed it, and I've seen it. It's probably my third or fourth time seeing it, I think.
Right.
And yeah, this is definitely, if it's not the best remake pseudo, thing that occupies that space that I've seen, I can't think of one that's done better.
Right.
As I think I've said like a dozen times, I really feel like this is one that was done with good faith effort, where they really thought that they had a good idea and were trying to do it with originality. So I can appreciate that, whether or not you like the film.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So I guess I'll go through the plot, right?
Yeah. So where does this open up, Ian?
So I'm gonna do, because I know there's just gonna be a shitload of scenes that we just want to talk about.
Sure.
So I'm gonna sprint through this real quick. So just hold your thoughts.
Right.
So we open up with some peoples at a cabin, and we don't open up with some peoples at a cabin. I was just kidding. We open up with some peoples in the woods. There's a girl running through the woods. She's clearly the victim. She's being chased by some shadowy figures, and then they black bag her. And then we cut to the basement of the cabin. She's tied up. And then we see a bunch of creepy looking hillbillies and one guy who looks pretty normal. You find out that she killed her mom / his wife. That's her dad. It was a good reveal. I gotta give him I didn't see that coming. I thought it was gonna be a pretty obvious girl gets fucking destroyed by the demon or whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, they did a good job with the subversion. Of course, she reveals herself as a Deadite. The Deadites look pretty good in this. They toned down the makeup, which I think was the right call, to not just be like, how can we make the Deadites look even scarier by adding a bunch of makeup and whatnot? They're just like contacts, really. I'm just going to jump in real quick, guys. You're allowed to talk to me. I just thanks for no reactions at all. I appreciate that.
We listen to you.
No,
it's a lot like this movie. If you listen to the watch along, like for the most part, aside from reactions, we're pretty quiet through the watch alongs.
Yeah,
because that movie is just
Very
enthralling.
engrossing.
Yeah.
Enthralling. So like,
I just don't want to launch off on the huge tangents until after.
Right.
You guys are allowed to actually speak English at me. I just want to throw that out there. So anyway, they light this girl on fire, as you do, and then Daddy shoots her in the face with a shotgun. And we get smash cut to the Evil Dead title card.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like some of the smash cuts we get later on in the Ash vs. Evil Dead series.
Right. Yeah.
They're those like.
They like their loud, blatant,
Yes.
bright red title cards, which I don't hate. So then we're back at the cabin in modern times, and we meet our characters. There's teacher's girlfriend, nurse,
Mhm.
girl whose role I don't care about, and she's dating brother, and then there's sister.
Right.
Do they ever
Let
actually?
me look at
I
her
don't,
names.
I don't think she ever actually does. I don't think they ever actually say what the girlfriend does, do they?
No, she's just Natalie. She just like
yeah, she's just Shelly part 2.
Yeah, she just bland looking blonde chick who like every now and then she pops in. You're like, oh,
Right. Oh yeah,
there's another girl
she's
here.
there. Yeah. No. Okay. So the sister is Mia. Brother is David. Brother is dating Natalie, who you'll forget even as I speak to her.
Yes.
And then their friends Eric and Olivia, who are also dating, are there. So you find out quickly that Mia is a heroin addict, and she has been taken to this cabin out in the woods for like her cleanup. Like she dumps her drugs down the well. Oh yeah, and there's no bridge, which I thought was interesting. They just kind of cross a shallow ford in the river.
Yeah, that's just like it's just a shallow part where they drive right across it, which makes you wonder like how that car got across. The car that you don't see that's just like there. It's what Eric and Olivia's car.
Yeah,
it's like this little like sedan.
Unless there was a bridge once upon a time that collapsed, and so now the only way back there is the ford.
But they were there first.
Yeah, they still got there.
Oh, I just mean in their distant past to tie it into to older movies.
Well,
That's Eric's theory.
Get there?
Sure. So they still drove across the river.
So they've been waiting there for a while. Like
Once upon a time, there were dinosaurs too. So anyway,
Dan was there. So.
no. So they're all at the cabin to help Mia get clean, and you realize pretty quick. Oh, and there's a dog. His name is Grandpa.
Yes,
He doesn't show up.
I hated that there was a dog in this movie. There was no point for it.
There are some movies where you see a dog and you're like, you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So, but you find out quickly that Eric is not happy with David. He's not happy with brother man Dan. David. His name's David. I'm going to call him Dan the whole time now that I said that. So they're like longtime friends who have been estranged for a long time. You find out there's some exposition dumps that Mia and David's mom has died.
And David's an asshole.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
He hasn't been around. And that's why Eric doesn't like him, because he hasn't been around. Because they've already tried to help Mia get clean and it didn't work. You find out later from Olivia, and David wasn't there for that.
Yeah, like
he's been so absent, he didn't even know the story of what happened.
He didn't know that she OD'd.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, like, that's a pretty fucking big deal.
Which we find out not only did she OD, but she like technically died.
Yeah.
She was legally dead.
Yeah.
So we get our opening, we establish everything, we get the backstory, like, and it's well done. I'm not trying to shit on it. It's just like, that's the opening of the movie.
The characters are shallow, like they're not like super fleshed out, but they really don't need to be. Like,
right, yeah.
Like we get that, Olivia's a doctor and that comes into play at a certain point. That's all you really need to know about her. Eric is an English teacher, and that's all you know about him. That plays in later.
Right.
They all have like their single trait, except for Natalie, who's just bland blonde chick.
Natalie is girlfriend.
Yeah, his girlfriend.
David is asshole. Mia is junkie desperate to get clean. Natalie is there.
Yeah,
so
she just been there the whole time.
She has shown up. So Mia quickly goes into withdrawal. She dumped her drugs in the well, all that good shit, and she starts freaking out over this smell. She's saying it reeks, and nobody else can smell it. So the dog ends up revealing that there's a trap door. And they open the trap door. The blood stain is even still there under the carpet, which means that somebody for sure showed up and covered that up with a carpet without cleaning it at all.
Right.
So that's fun. But
and it's weird because like it's her parents' cabin, right?
Yeah.
It's just weird. I don't. Yeah. Maybe? Like I don't remember because when they go into the one room, there's already like pictures hanging up, right?
So well, because they used to go there as friends. I don't know if it was anybody's parents.
Oh,
I don't remember.
Well, what the hell are they renting the same cabin from?
So I think it was her parents, but I think the scene that we saw before, I didn't think that place has been empty for a while. So they're using it.
Right, yeah.
Because those people were clearly
because
locals.
Right,
even
hillbillies that never showed up again.
Yeah. Even the dead cats, like when they find them, are pretty like decayed too, I think, right?
Right, yeah. Which ends up, that turns out to be the smell, because they go down to the basement and there's dead cats hanging everywhere.
And then they all look at each other and they say, "Well, we're heading out," and they all leave, and that's in the movie. Evil Dead, ladies and gentlemen.
There we go. There's an after credits scene.
Title crawl.
No, yeah. So they see all the dead cats and they're like, "Boy, somebody's been doing some witchcraft here," because there's like a little altar set up, and then they find the Necronomicon wrapped in a black plastic bag and then wrapped again in barbed wire.
And that must have taken some effort, because that motherfucker was wrapped in there tight.
Yeah,
really tight.
You're right. Yeah. So Eric grabs the book,
because when you see something wrapped up, you think Christmas present.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Listen, I got to be honest. If I saw a book wrapped up in barbed wire, I'd probably have to take a look.
Right. Yeah.
I have the opposite reaction. I'm like, that's not going to be a good
bury
thing
that
to open
shit. Yeah. So Mia freaks out and she's like, "By the way, getting the fuck out of here." And she grabs the keys off the table, which was a bad mistake for them to let her do that.
Yeah, they do just let her take
They
them.
just stood around,
shrug their shoulders.
Yeah, she just steals Eric and Olivia's car, drives away through the woods, and then the woods are real creepy. And then there's a person in the road, and she swerves and dodges, and she ends up plowing into this big, I guess it's a pond. I was going to say it's a big puddle, but it's like a pond on the side of the road.
Just like a little swampy pond.
Yeah. This was technically less graphic, but just as disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
She gets out. She swims across the pond. She's all shaken up from the crash. And then she's crawling through some thorns and vines and shit. And then they start to tangle her up. And then the thing shows up again. And it vomits out this creepy black vine thing that slithers up her leg.
And then right up the cooter.
And then right up. Yep. So she shows back
Actually,
up.
I guess it could have been either direction, really.
Well,
from that angle.
The point is, it went up her skirt and didn't come back. So
and was never seen again.
So she goes back to the cabin, and obviously, everybody's wigging out over this, and she starts taking a shower. David's walking around like, man, I'm such a dick. He doesn't say that, but he's just being a dick. And then he finds blood, and he realizes that we haven't seen Grandpa for a while.
Yes, I hated this.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the dog was like not even on screen for. Like,
No, it wasn't one of those things. It wasn't one of those things like where we establish some kind of connection with the dog. It's just a dog that they kill off there. It's kind of cheap. It's like a cheap thing they do.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And Olivia by this point has said like she's going to do anything she can to leave. Yeah. So
like as far as like dog kills go, like the only time I ever found it acceptable was in the Cronenberg Fly when the dog gets killed in the transporter things. That made sense for the character. Like it drives him, like it pushes him in it. It gives him like motivation. And then in the Carpenter thing, when the dogs die in there, like those only 2 times in a movie I've ever seen. I'm like, I didn't like seeing dogs die, but I wasn't like repulsed by it.
Right. Yeah.
And the one where Mark Wahlberg plays a stalker.
What was that one?
It's called like Fear.
Oh, Cape Fear.
No, not Cape Fear. That's Robert De Niro. Jesus.
I thought Marky Mark was in that one.
I have to look it up. Jesus.
So
I have to look it up later. But trust me, that the death of that dog makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, David finds dead dog. Crawled into a big ass gopher hole that opens up into the floor of the work shed, and he's all sad. He's like, did my dog get sick? And then he finds blood, and he's like, probably not. He doesn't say any of that.
He sees a bloody hammer.
Yeah, he sees a bloody hammer, and he puts 2 and 2 together that Mia killed the dog, and we get a flash of her doing just that, barely off screen.
Yep.
So he goes in to confront her. She's taking a shower, and everybody's like, hey, man, she's taking a shower. And he doesn't care. He busts in anyway. And you find out that she's standing in the shower and she turned the water to literally boiling hot and is standing under it and burning her face.
That was pretty wild.
Yeah, that was pretty gross.
Just sitting there getting second and third degree burns.
Yeah. So now she's in real bad shape. So he hops in the Jeep and then they drive away. And then they get to the ford that was previously shallow enough to drive across, and now it's not.
Yeah, totally flooded.
The water's totally flooded, so they can't go back. Which that was a fun, I guess, take on that. There was no reason they couldn't have just done a destroyed bridge again, but they were like, let's make it a little
different.
Yeah. Just a little different.
It's all right.
Yeah. That tends to happen in this movie. They're like, okay, it is Evil Dead, but we're gonna make things just a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good for like people that obviously the diehard fans, you don't get
right.
Oh, and I totally skipped the part where Eric read from the book already because that happened. Which is why all this shit's going on.
Because that's his first instinct.
He clips open the barbed wire. He rips open the bag. The Necronomicon looks different. It's all stitched together.
No face.
No face.
I'm pretty sure it's the first one without the face, right?
It is, yeah.
And the first one is a face. Yeah, that's the first one.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
So I wonder if this is a different Necronomicon.
Maybe. So anyway, that's why all this shit is happening. So he brings her back. She's obviously in really bad shape. So Olivia knocks her out with a syringe, and then they're all talking. And they're like, "Boy, this is pretty fucked up, huh?" And then Mia comes in with a shotgun.
I love it. Previous to that, when Eric is reading from the book, like they
warnings.
They show there's warnings around that say like don't read it, don't write it, don't hear it, and he's like, well, better start reading this thing.
Yeah.
And the first thing he does is write it down and read it.
Yeah.
There's just no excuse.
There was even part of it that was like scribbled out.
Yeah,
so he did like a scratch drawing.
Yeah.
And that's how, which like that was a pretty cool. I liked that where he was just scratching word by word and it kept cutting back. That's when we saw the weird vine scene. But yeah, so Mia shows up with a shotgun and everybody's like, fuck. So she shoots and clips David.
Right in the arm.
The door bursts open and we get the one by one we will take you. We hear that again. I'm pretty sure it was even the same soundbite.
I think they did use same sound like the OG stuff with Raimi. I'm pretty sure because I know at the end they do.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
she says you're all gonna die tonight. She passes out. They get the gun off of her, or no, Olivia's going for the gun, and then Mia grabs her, gets on top of her,
gets a facial.
Yep, barfs a whole lot of blood right into her face, right into her mouth, and then
all over her. It's pretty graphic.
It was pretty.
And then she flips her into the basement.
Yeah, Olivia rolls her into the basement. They shut the door, lock her down there.
Which that was a pretty slick.
Yeah, I
move.
was say
Yeah.
good for her.
I
by the way.
Right.
thought, when the first time I watched it, I seen her do that, and I was like, oh, she might be our heroine. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
They did a lot
No,
of
they
that.
dumped the heroin down the well.
Yeah, you're right. Yes.
But yeah, they did a lot of that where most people had a moment where it was like, okay, maybe they're going to be Ash.
Right.
because that was the fun part about when this first came out. The fun part was the everyone trying to figure out who was our Ash
Right.
proxy,
Yeah.
because there's 5 characters here. There's 5 originals. They make it seem like it's a remake, but we now know it's like a alternate reality sequel.
Right.
But you have 3 girls, 2 males. It seems a lot like the original,
right. Yeah.
and everyone was trying. That was just the fun part about for the fans, is trying to figure out who is our Ash
Right. 'Cause-
proxy. And everyone has kind of a moment, like you said. Everyone has kind of a moment where
yeah.
you're like, aha.
Ooh, they might. Yeah. Because that's how the first Evil Dead was. We noticed that when we went back and watched the original, where it was like, okay, they didn't really set up Ash as any sort of hero.
You're right.
So what was
He kinda just
Eric's
ended
moment?
up being the hero.
I don't know what Eric's moment was. I don't know if he had a moment other than just getting that shit kicked out
Oh,
of him.
yeah.
I think it was
Killing
when
his
he
girlfriend,
was-
maybe?
Yeah, I think so. That was his
Yeah.
fight back moment.
He did kill his girlfriend,
Right,
kind of like
yeah.
Ash kills his
He
girlfriend.
got the shit kicked out. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
And had to kill
fair
his
enough.
girlfriend.
So they all kind of have a
Yeah.
moment, except for the one character we don't really see. Well, kind of. We drew that later.
Well,
that-
She
Yeah,
does
even-
too. She
Even
cuts off
Natalie
her
got
hand.
to like
yes.
cut her fucking
Yeah.
arm off.
And
yeah.
and when the first time I watched this, I remember in the theaters, and I seen her do that. I was like, this is Ash. It made
Right.
sense too that it would be like in the original,
Yeah.
where Ash is just kind of this background character. He's not particularly heroic. Then at the end, he becomes a hero.
Yeah.
It would have made sense for Natalie just to
Oh, right.
all of a sudden, like
right.
40 minutes of the movie, she's like, "Hey guys, I'm here and I'm gonna do shit."
Oh,
Like,
I was ready to
She
believe
just
it.
ends up being. a
I
hero.
was too at that point, because it seemed like she was the last female left
Right.
Yeah.
for a while, but
Yeah.
getting ahead of ourselves.
So yeah, Olivia goes to the bathroom and starts cleaning herself up. And they keep showing throughout the build up to this, there's different pictures of stuff happening in the book. You saw like an illustration of a woman like dumping a scalding cauldron of water on herself, and that was Mia burning herself.
Right.
So then we also saw where somebody removed their own face. So in the bathroom, Olivia, I like this shot where she's like in the mirror, and then she opens it and gets something out, and then it shuts by itself, and then she looks up and she's got like a big chunk of her face carved
Mhm.
away.
Yeah. On the bottom.
Um,
And then she looks right
Yeah.
over at the book as she goes around the room.
Yep.
She looks at the book, and the book has the same image of this person peeling their face off.
Right, yeah. So she starts to leave the room and then freezes and just starts twitching out, which I thought that was a pretty creepy little bit. I like that. So she's obviously infected. That's bad. So she's in the bathroom and we hear some gross noises. And then Eric walks in to check on her and he's like, "You okay?" She turns around. She's cutting her face off with a shard of glass because the mirror.
And it is pretty fucked.
It is pretty
Yeah.
gruesome. So he backs away and slips on her discarded cheek.
Yes.
Yeah, slipping on somebody's
and
face
just-
as you do.
Just
Oh,
gets
because she stabbed him in
bashed
the
on it.
shoulder.
Yes.
She stabs him in the shoulder with the shard she was cutting at her face with, and then he falls over, breaks the toilet or the sink or whatever, and then she takes the fucking syringe needle and just starts beating him in the face. That was gnarly.
that was
Yeah.
gross.
That was brutal.
That was
She
Yeah.
just starts
fucking
stabbing the shit out of
brutal.
him in his
Yeah.
face, his
Breaking his
eye,
glasses.
his
Because
hand.
there's like no
Yeah.
way to defend against that. It's a fucking
Right.
needle.
Right.
It's-
He puts
Yeah.
up his hand and it just gets punctured.
It
over
goes.
his
Yeah.
It shatters
hand
his glasses.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
Dude, that was gnarly.
awful.
It is
So-
brutal.
So he squishes her head with a broken
I wish
piece
we
of
would
the
have done.
ceramic.
I wish we would have done video recorded our watch along.
Oh yeah.
There was some pretty damn good reactions.
Right.
I forgot just how brutal this fucking movie
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. So he smushes her head. And then David busts in and he's like, "Not my fault. She tried to kill me first." So Mia's fucked up. She's locked in the basement. Olivia's dead. Grandpa's dead. Things aren't going great.
Yeah, this movie goes downhill pretty fucking fast.
It
Yeah.
does.
It goes 0 to 100. It's like
Right. Yeah.
as soon as he reads that book, it's a flip the switch. And that's kind of how Evil Dead 1981 is too. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
it all happens pretty quick.
And I think, wasn't this the part where Mia starts calling for Natalie and then she opens the trap door and Mia's sitting down there like, "Why'd you guys hurt me?" or whatever. I'm pretty sure that's, I don't remember exactly what.
Yeah,
happened.
yeah,
That's what Olivia's
yeah,
right,
'cause- because David takes Eric out to the shed to patch him up. It's like,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there we
and
go.
she runs in for something.
Yeah. So they left Natalie in the house by herself.
Yeah.
And she falls for it. Fucking dumb shit. She's walking down the stairs. She's like, I'm going to help you, Mia. And then Mia turns around. She's like, just kidding. I'm still a fucking deadite. So Natalie runs up the stairs. The stairs break. She catches herself and it's like, she's going to die. And then she pulls herself to safety.
And then it pauses.
And then it pauses and she gets dragged back into the trap door, which I like. That was good. I mean, it was obvious it was going to happen, but it was executed well.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It looked good.
Yeah. It was like usually characters getting dragged away by the unseen, whatever.
Like the oldest cliche in the book.
Right.
But
and
they
it
did
usually
it so
looks
well.
really dumb. But they did that really well because it's like, it's going to happen. But for a moment, they made you think like, oh, maybe she actually is.
They
Nope. Okay.
subverted it enough
Yeah.
at the beginning.
And
where
I
it's
mean-
like,
Yeah.
oh, wow.
The
No,
only
she is
other
gonna
time
die.
I've seen that done that well is Wreck, the Spanish zombie
Oh, yeah,
movie.
that was a good one.
That was a good one.
Oh yeah, those movies got wild
Whoa.
though.
We got to watch the original Wreck at some point. By
Oh
the
That'd
yeah,
be
I love
fun.
Wreck.
But
I think this is a good time to like talk about like Fede Alvarez. Like that dude like did a hell of a job directing this movie. Like
yeah, he did.
he fucking knew how to like he did a bunch of like Raimi homages, like even the part where Natalie comes down the basement and we see Mia at the foot of the steps.
Right.
And Natalie's coming in, they're both in focus. Like that's just like classic Raimi. We see that in
Right.
Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2. They do a lot of the the weird shifting of the camera for just no reason other than to disorient you.
Turning
Like,
upside down. And
Yeah.
he did a hell of a job, and that scene where Natalie gets ripped down in the basement is shot so well because that shot has been done a million times, and I've never seen it that good.
Yeah.
Well, again, for 19 million, they
Yeah.
squeezed every ounce of budget they could out of this fucker.
Absolutely.
Right, yeah.
It was
So,
used very
No,
efficiently.
they did a good job. Like,
So Mia that's where she gets bit in the hand, right?
yeah, because now she's tussling with. Well, yeah, Natalie's tussling with Mia in the basement. Mia bites her hand. She grabs a box cutter to defend herself that Mia gets her hands on, and then this is the scene that got the biggest reaction out of us.
Oh,
period.
this is the
Yeah.
worst.
And it did in
Fuck.
theaters too.
Yep.
This was the worst.
Yep. And she
Licks that fucking blade.
gives herself a tongue bisection with the box
I
cutter.
can't even like.
And then she kisses Natalie on the mouth with her disgusting bloody
Ah.
Kiss me, you filthy
disgustingness.
cunt.
Yeah. Ugh.
That was so
Thinking
fun.
about this
Yeah.
scene makes me sick.
And then, so
and they
Dave-
linger on that tongue pretty good.
They
oh
do.
yeah, yeah.
It's not.
Which I wonder. I'll bet they found somebody who already had that modification.
I bet
to do
the
that.
tongue splitting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure they probably
Oh, yeah.
did.
Because it did not look CGI for even
No,
a moment. So
I
I'm
don't.
pretty sure they already had
I
somebody.
mean, they could have done with a prosthetic
That
though.
could have been some
Well,
really
I
well
don't know
done
though, because
prosthetic work.
at one point when she had it on either side of the blade, which you guys were probably all looking away, she moves each half of her tongue independently, which is a thing you can do when you have a tongue split.
It's so gross.
I'm betting they got somebody who already had that modification. to do
I
that scene.
too am betting that they did.
But yeah, so David saves Olivia, or not Olivia because she's already dead. He saves Natalie, whose name doesn't really matter.
Shelley
Yeah, Shelley.
Shelley too.
shall not.
Yeah. so then we get a little bit of exposition where Eric is like, check this out. This book is a piece of shit and I shouldn't have read it. So here's how we stop it. But then in the meantime, Natalie is looking at her arm and it's not doing great.
She's tending her arm. There was
Yep.
some cool stuff with like she's washing her hand and like she's scrubbing the wound and like there's like these big beads of like black goo like coming out.
that-
of the-
yeah.
Squeezing it out like
Yeah, like
pus.
Yeah.
some kind. Like, you
Yeah,
see the
sort of
infection kind of coming out.
Yeah, it was a nasty in a whole different way than the first movie.
Mhm.
Like both
Yeah.
the original Evil Dead and the remake, whatever you want to call it, Evil Dead, are nasty, but in totally different ways.
Yeah.
Yes.
The and like you see her hands start like getting rotten. It starts going
Yeah,
bad.
you start seeing the infection move
Well,
up.
Which is a lot. I kind of wish they would have done something like the original with like the symbiote looking stuff, the veins
kind of look. Yeah,
Yeah, because I love that effect. That's like one of my favorite effects from the '81 version.
yeah, I do. Yeah, I do really like that. Either way, she's like, well, fuck. So she grabs the fucking turkey carver and does
Gone.
what needs done.
Yeah, but she does it up at her bicep, like literally the thickest part of her.
Oh, I
arm.
know.
Like, do it at the elbow, you dumb bitch.
Well,
What are you doing?
They knew you wouldn't cringe as much if they did it.
I know. God damn
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think
Eddie, you fucker.
I think this is a part too. Like, when I was watching it the first time, like I thought, like, is this her Ash moment? Is this like her, like,
Right. Oh
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
because she's the first one to lose her
definitely
arm.
thought-
Like,
So
Right, yeah.
I thought that right up, like in the theater. I thought that right up until I saw her hit the bicep. I was like, oh no.
All right.
It was up too high.
Oh, Ash wouldn't.
That was
do
just
the
stupid.
bicep.
Yeah, I was like, that's just nonsense.
I
But it was already
hoping
up
to see
pretty
her. Yeah, I was hoping to see her like chop her arm off. We cut back to Eric and David. They come
Yep.
back in and she's standing there with that turkey carver attached to her arm.
It's like, look, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God we
Yeah.
didn't do that.
But yeah, so we get some exposition, and Eric's like, "Look, you're gonna have to burn your sister, otherwise she's gonna be like tortured in hell or whatever." And David's like, "What if she just got sick from the dead cats?"
No.
And Eric's like, "I don't think dead cat sickness makes you cut your own fucking face off."
Yeah, he was very clear. He's like,
yeah,
What triggers him to go look for Natalie? Because she's in there like she's screaming as she cutting her arm off too, and like I don't remember
Oh, yeah.
why they're like, wait, where's Natalie? Was it her screaming?
well, they didn't look for her. She came to them.
no. They go in the kitchen. They find that there's a puddle of blood.
Oh, because the power went out.
Yeah. Oh, that's it.
That's
Yeah.
The sound of the turkey carver and the screaming is nothing.
Yeah,
the power
it's-
going
it's
out
like-
is a problem.
Yeah.
although I wouldn't put it past it to be like the Deadites are literally keeping it to where people can't hear what's
It could be
happening.
something like
maybe.
that. Could be something
Because
like that.
she's still infected.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And
So-
they go in there. Like I love when they see the blood. They turn the light on her. She turns around and like she's like, it was my arm or something like that.
I cut it off.
I feel much better now.
Oh, yeah.
And she turns around. You see that the arm is like still dangling by like a
Yeah.
tendon. It just snaps off and hits the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
Then like kind of like David, like when he's duct taping her up, he's like everything's gonna be fine. And Eric's like she just cut her arm off. She's like this is far from
Yeah.
being fine.
Yeah.
This is not fine. Like,
Things are not going great here, buddy.
yeah.
So I'm actually surprised that they didn't bring the hand back later. They don't, do they?
No,
No.
It didn't do any of that.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, it didn't do any of the
No.
Evil Dead stuff.
No, I think that they knew that with how careful they were about what parts they chose to keep and what parts they didn't. I think they felt that they were probably getting close enough just by cutting off the hand, let alone doing the whole.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Because they do take some elements from Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, but they're
They're very careful.
they keep it a little more in the vein of Evil Dead than Dead by Dawn.
Oh yeah, and
Which
they-
I think he does. I think Eric does have a line where he says like we're gonna be dead by dawn. I'm pretty sure.
Is that right?
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure he has a line like
I
that.
missed it if he said it. But oh yeah, part of the exposition is that you can burn them or do a live burial, and that
Yeah, there was
Or
burning.
dismemberment.
There was
Yeah.
burning, dismemberment, or live burial.
yeah. And then that's when Natalie comes back and she's sporting a brand new nail gun. She makes sure to put a few
Yes.
nails in her face so that we, the audience, know what's going on.
Yeah.
Which we did establish the nail gun earlier when they first get in the cabin because David is like
Oh, yeah. Doing some
refixing
repairs,
yeah he's
right.
repairing the
Yeah.
door frame.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because the door frame's all busted up.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Evil
yeah.
Dead.
It's the same
Yeah,
universe.
it's
Yeah.
got it. Well, the Delta's there. So.
And
Yeah.
so the fact that the door is busted open supports the fact that those people at the beginning were just using that cabin.
Yep, because the evil knocked the door straight off at the end of Evil Dead when it comes rushing through.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm telling you, that's why they didn't
And
have
then-
to use a bridge. They had to find somewhere else to go.
Well, but then Ash kind of fixed it when he boarded it back up. But then the big head came through in Evil Dead 2 and
Well-
messed it up.
Well, from what the interview we read, because I think you were in the restroom, we read an interview from the director where basically it sounds like this is Evil Dead 2 in this universe.
Oh, okay. Well, that
Like
makes sense then.
this comes off of like the events of Evil Dead 1 are
Right.
canon to this, and this is just a coincidence. It's fate. What do you say? Fate by the book or something like that. Like the book just brings
Right.
it back here.
Yeah.
That's why the Delta's still there because we know
Right.
because Evil Dead
Oh,
2,
'cause
the
what-
Delta gets
yeah.
sucked into time and
That's true. Yeah. Okay. So,
Ah,
yeah. So, Natalie comes in, starts spraying with the nail gun, just shoots the absolute
Oh my
fuck out of
God.
both of them.
And once again, like, can we just Eric is an absolute stud.
Oh, yeah.
In this
He
movie.
took,
Oh,
he
yeah.
took so much damage.
You
He
hear
got
that,
high
Eric?
HP.
You hear that, Eric? We'll have to get that sound
Different
bite.
Eric.
for
I
Eric.
said, I said in this movie,
We'll get that sound bite so Eric can set it as his ringtone for him.
just Ben saying,
Yeah.
Eric
Can
is
I
an
just say
absolute
Eric's an
stud.
absolute stud.
like, the characters summon the demons, and then they're just like, well, you have to pay for that. And
Yeah.
he does. every time.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Poor
He gets
bastard.
fucked up.
Yeah, but anyway, so Natalie's shooting the shit out of them with the nail gun. They manage to subdue her. They're tending to their nails, and then Natalie shows back up with a crowbar.
And just
And
starts whacking.
That was one of the most brutal parts.
That
Is when
was.
Eric held up his hand to defend himself, and she just
That was one of those
Split
things
his
I
hand.
forgot about. That was one of the
Yeah.
things I legitimately
And
forgot.
she doesn't just hit Eric. She hits both of them. She's
oh yeah,
just beating the fuck
she's
out
beating
of
the hell out
Yeah.
of him. Yeah, because there's always moments like you kind of always expect when the blow is about to happen and a character goes to defend themselves. That's either when they die or when the Deus Ex Machina shows up to save them.
Not in this.
Nope, they just keep taking hits, like just
And
beating the hell out of
Yeah.
her.
splits his fucking hand. She
Yep.
splits Eric's hand.
So
And they show it too.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
that's-
yeah. They definitely don't pull back from anything in this movie.
No, their budget went well into this body horror.
Oh,
that
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so she's just beating the screaming hell out of Eric, and then finally David shoots her arm off with the shotgun, and then she turns back normal, and she's like, "Why you hurting me?" But then she never turns back into a deadite. So I think the deadite actually just let her have that last moment, which is fucked up.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the Deadite was like, well, no arms.
Yeah,
This is done.
yeah,
That is a good
This
point.
one's wasted.
Like she's like laying on his lap and everything. I thought she was gonna like
Yeah,
start.
you were like,
biting
you're
him
gonna
and-
fucking die, but
Yeah.
no, she died.
That's right. She was just done.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah, 'cause
Um,
I like it too. Like when she's sawing her arm off in the kitchen the first time,
mhm.
like the Mia Deadeye is like screaming, like no,
Yeah,
like
don't
it
do
doesn't
it,
work.
bitch. Right.
Yeah,
But she got that weird tongue kiss in, so it was didn't matter.
Nope, it was way
Yeah.
deep.
But
She impregnated her.
oh, God. No, that already happened. So anyway, so David drags Eric out and he sits him by the car, and Eric's just like, "Hey, make sure you burn the cabin." And Eric's like, "I'm gonna burn this or David's like, "I'm gonna burn this fucking cabin."
Yeah.
And then he goes in
I'm
there.
paraphrasing the dialogue.
Then
So he goes in there,
You don't say.
spreading gas, and he's about to do it, but then Mia starts singing this lullaby that was established earlier in the movie, and he's like, "I can't do it because of my
Yeah,
emotions."
Get fucked, David.
Yeah. So he goes down there, or he goes to the work shed and he creates a contraption with a car battery and some needles that we don't know what that's going to be for yet. Because he shows the chainsaw, and you're like, Ash moment? No.
Mhm.
So they move on. He doesn't get the chainsaw.
but he does do engineering things.
Yeah, he does some
because
engineering.
we all know that everyone in Evil Dead is
Yep.
an engineer.
and
That's right.
they did the like zoom, like boom, boom, boom. Things
I
are
love-
happening.
yeah.
It was a
little
The
bit.
montage.
middle
Yeah.
of a, yeah.
Yep, they did,
Suit up
did a
scene
little bit.
almost.
And that's the good thing I think about this movie. Fede Alvarez clearly wanted to like pay tribute, but was obviously making a very conscious effort to never rip anything off. Like every once in a while, there's a line that's the same. There's obvious callbacks like Natalie chopping off her arm, but there's never just like he didn't just rename Shelly and Cheryl and yada, yada.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you could have used because it's Ashley is Ash's real name.
Right.
You
Yeah.
coulda-
So they could have
you
named
could have had a
Mia
female Ashley. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but thank God they just side skirted that whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So he goes in the basement to get Mia, and all he has is fucking flashlight.
For crying out loud.
So needless to say, it doesn't go well. She cuts him up pretty good with the box cutter.
Starts to drown his
starts
ass.
to drown him in the basement that's now flooded. I don't think we established that it was flooded before this, but by this time it's been flooded. It's been raining.
Well,
a
that's the
lot.
first time we see that it's flooded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And from this point on, I have
Yep, so
no
she-
sympathy for this guy.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she's just fucking drowning him, and then she stops drowning him, and then we pull back, and it's Eric to the rescue. He fucking hit her
Again.
with the crowbar, and they sat down. He's like, "Boy, I'm
Well,
fucking done, dude."
She stabbed him.
Yeah, the thing
Oh,
she was
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to stab David with, she
Yeah,
had got
yeah.
him while
The
he was
I think that was
underwater.
the box
cutter.
cutter.
It
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got stabbed again, and he lost his last HP.
Yep.
So
And
he
just sits down. This time he literally just
Yeah.
sits down and dies.
He's rolling
Yeah.
health saves, but he fails. He sits down and dies, and we get a little bit of closure with the whole like Eric hates David because he's an asshole thing, and Eric's like, "I missed you, man," and then he dies.
I know how funny would it
Yeah.
have been. Like, I wish you'd have stayed
Right.
gone.
So David gives Mia another sedative, even though she's already been knocked out with the crowbar, which is probably a good
Smart.
idea.
Yeah, double up
Yeah.
on that shit.
Yeah.
Drags her outside because we saw a bolt of lightning strike a tree, and the tree is on fire, a little tree,
Mhm.
which was apparently symbolic. because he drags her outside and he starts burying her. He has a plastic bag over her face so she doesn't swallow dirt. And she starts, doing deadite things, starts begging for her life and then taunting him, and you know how it do. And he buries her. And then the flame on the tree goes out. And he's like, I understand what that symbolism means. So he starts to unbury her. And then she's just fucking fine. No burns on her face. Her tongue's not split. She's all fucking good. The deadite healed her on the way out, I guess. So they're like, all right, what a fucking adventure. Let's get the fuck out of here. So David walks 15 feet to get the keys. And guess who is now a deadite? Obviously, it's Eric. Yep. Anybody who dies in an Evil Dead movie is 100% coming back as a deadite.
100%.
Yeah. So they do some more fighting.
Not really a lot, because
he gets Eric jumped him.
Yeah, he gets him in the throat.
Yeah, he got his jugular with some pliers.
Because Eric goes back to get David goes back. David goes get the car keys, but then he turns back to get the picture of that he has of all them.
Oh
together.
yeah,
yep. And then
David Eric fucking stabs him in the neck, so he's bleeding out. He gets the shotgun. And then he shoots the gas can and finally burns down the goddamn cabin like he should have just done before.
But it triggers all 5 deaths.
Yep. So the abomination. Oh yeah, because I forgot to mention that this abomination or whatever needs 5 souls to be able to rise from the ground and fuck shit up.
Dun dun dun.
So got 5 souls,
which it's a pretty good explosion. We get an explosion in Evil Dead, which up to this point isn't something we were really used to.
Yeah. Right.
It was a good.
It wasn't.
It was a decent explosion.
Yeah.
Which is what he should have done in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
When he was like, "I'm burning the thing," he should just toss the gas can there, and just shot it, and just him and Eric rode off into the sunset. That should have been what happened.
Right. Yeah. Let's get you some medical attention, buddy. So the cabin is burning, and now Mia's like, "Well, fuck," and then it starts to rain blood, which I like that initial shot of her holding the grappling hook magnifying necklace, and then the blood lands right on it. It starts raining blood, which it was said would happen, and then the abomination claws its way up out of the ground. And it looks, I think it's supposed to be like a distorted, fucked up version of her. Because earlier they said it was like it was leeching off of her or something.
Yeah,
that and becoming her. That makes sense. Okay,
that
makes sense. That explains why she felt familiar, but I wasn't sure that we'd seen her before.
Yeah,
because it was probably that same actress.
That makes a hell of a lot of sense.
It wasn't, but it was. It was made to. I looked that up. It was made to look like her. I'm pretty sure.
Nice.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
It could be.
It could be. Yeah. So they start having a fight, and by that I mean Mia keeps crawling into enclosed spaces.
Drove me
It gave Eric a complete anxiety attack.
So
she's just crawling around.
Yeah, she crawls into the wombat hole, and the abomination starts following her. So she pulls herself up into the fucking work shed. She grabs the chainsaw, and that I like that little bit too. She's sitting on the ground fucking with the chainsaw. And she sees like gas on the shelf behind her, so she just like elbows the wall and makes it fall down. Yeah. So she fills it up with gas, and she's trying. Then the abomination is like, "Guess what? I'm back, bitch!" And then she goes into the wall somehow. And then
it's like a gap between the workbench.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then that's when the abomination just starts stabbing the fucking machete in.
That was brutal. That was brutal.
Everybody winced when it went through her.
Yes.
I think it was her leg, and then just slowly
pulled out.
It's a rusty, jagged machete too.
Right.
Man.
But it damages the wall enough for Mia to punch her way out.
Yeah.
So she runs over to the Jeep. And she hops it and starts it and drives away. No, I'm just kidding. She crawls under it into another enclosed space.
That is the exact moment where Eric's anxiety just washed over him.
Which, to be fair, she didn't have the keys. So, that was established. But
that's
still.
just not, that's the third time you've attempted to hide from this thing in a small, hard to get out of place. Yeah, knock it off and hit the open fucking road.
Although, to be fair, this one works out for her.
It does.
She gets under the Jeep, starts the chainsaw, and then when the abomination comes up, she just takes one of its legs off, which that was good maneuver. Good maneuver. She crawls out the other side, but it turns out the abomination has super strength.
Yes.
And it rolls the Jeep, and she barely rolls out of the way, except for her left hand gets pinned.
Yeah.
And, oh boy, out of all the cringy body horror moments, this was a big one for me. The abomination is dragging itself around the car slowly. She can't reach the fucking chainsaw with her other hand.
Okay, folks, if you hear this, I have 65 milligrams of coke stressed to my body, and the police are coming.
All right, let's wrap this up before Ben gets arrested. Fuck, I lost my fucking train.
It's okay. Tell us about
her.
the hand.
So her hand is pinned.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right, here we go. Grab the chainsaw. The first time I saw this, she's going to grab that chainsaw, roll over, pull an Ash, and then
Kill the fuck.
Groovy. Here we go. No. She rolls over without the fucking chainsaw.
She can't
just
reach it.
What does she say? She says something like, I'm over this, or
She
I'm
says-
I'm over this shit or something. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. And then she just fucking pulls her fucking hand out, and it was so graphic and
Ugh.
fucking disgusting. It was horrible.
Snapped by
yeah.
layers.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but her hand comes detached. She grabs the chainsaw, stumbles to her feet, and then the fucking abomination. This was hands down my favorite part
Yeah.
of the movie. Is right there at her
The
feet.
shot
And
is
it says,
epic.
I will swallow your
I
soul.
will
Or,
feast on your
I will
soul.
feast on your soul. And she says, feast on this motherfucker, and just feeds at the fucking blade of the
And-
chainsaw.
Yeah.
And I mean, not just feeds it, she like pulls it back and then shoves it.
Oh,
back.
she's
yeah.
sitting there
Oh,
like
yeah.
she's
She's
chopping down a
sawing.
tree.
Yeah,
dude.
she's going
And-
after a redwood with that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And it is a
Sauces-
visual because we get a nice wide of it.
Oh,
the
yeah.
blood rain. There's the burning
Oh.
cabin in the background.
They
like
linger.
it
Beautiful
is
shots.
beautiful.
Oh yeah. And then she
So epic.
yoinks this fucking thing out. It's in two halves. It's disgusting, and it sinks into like a bloody
While the
puddle.
eye's still blinking.
Yeah.
And it was cool too. Eric pointed out, like, she kind of did use like the chainsaw hand. She uses her like stump hand to like
To wedge
to-
it into
yeah,
the
yeah.
into the
Chainsaw.
handle. That's right. So that it was almost like Ash.
because she chopped off the opposite hand that Ash did.
Yes.
Yes,
'Cause
that
it's his
that,
right
that was
hand,
something
but,
that happened. I noticed a lot in this movie was everyone that did, her and Natalie both lose their hands.
Yeah.
It's the left
They
hand for
lose
both
their
of them. They
opposite.
never lost the right hand.
And I wonder
Right,
if that's because the reason that Bruce Campbell lost his right hand was because he was left-handed. So I wonder if they were just
Oh,
right-handed,
okay.
and so they cut off their
Oh
left
yeah.
hand.
Huh, maybe.
That's
So,
the
yeah.
that's the meta reason. But
That is the
story
meta
is-
reason. Yes,
and
not
then-
necessarily the symbolic one.
The movie ends.
He'll find the symbolic one.
Yeah. So the movie ends with the blood rain stopping, and Mia walks off into the sunset, probably to die from blood loss in the woods.
Yeah,
But we don't see
she
that.
survives and immediately ODs on heroin
Yeah.
because that's the first thing she does. She's like, "Give me all you have."
I really need a
I'm
fucking
s-
hit
Yeah,
after
She,
that.
actually, she probably just walked to her dealer and like showed up, and he was like,
Hey
There you
man,
go.
I had
Yeah.
a rough day. Hit me up. Yep. And then
I need
like
something to help with the pain of my stump.
probably gave it to her for free.
and then we fast forwarded through the credits.
Yep.
And we hear the original recording of the doctor being like, "I fucked up by reading this shit."
Voiced by Sam Raimi.
Yep. And then
Black
we
screen.
get finally we can talk about the man himself. Bruce Campbell finally shows up in the movie for about
Groovy.
5 seconds. He in a silhouette shot. He says, "Groovy." Turns and looks at the camera.
Yeah, that's like a.
It's a perfect, slightly cheesy ending to this movie.
And there we have
Yep.
2013's Evil
Evil
Dead
Dead.
reboot.
Yep. Evil Dead. So, all right. I know I was like, hold your thoughts, because I know there's we still
There's
kind
lots
of
to
talk.
say, yeah.
But like, I guess just to launch us into that, now that we're through the plot, like what made the biggest impression on you in this movie? Like what
The
piece
gore.
of gore? Yeah.
Uh,
What
the
specifically?
tongue, like that is still just
Yeah. That was
so
super
goddamn
well done.
graphic. Like that's two things I can't stand. Or like there's like three, like eyeballs, tongues, then like that Achilles tendon in the back of your
Oh,
head.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Eric had 2 out of 3 on this one.
Yeah.
He had
Yeah.
the needle in the eye, the
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
or no, not the tongue though, I guess. But yeah, he had the needle in
But
the
it was
eye.
right there.
2 out of 3 for the
Yeah.
movie.
So there's one
Yeah.
horror movie I watched not too long ago where like someone gets their like tendon slash, like the Achilles tendon slash.
I know that from Pet Cemetery. That always made me cringe.
Yeah,
when it
Pet
happened in
Pet Cemetery did
yeah.
it.
There's one I watched recently where it happened.
That happens a lot. in different movies.
What is it? Museum of Wax. did
House
that.
of Wax.
House of Wax.
Yeah.
Did that.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course, the first Hostel did it. That
Yeah.
one.
I hate the Hostel fucking movies.
Oh, I do too.
So,
But
but
they're
anyway,
a little
yeah,
unnecessarily brutal.
yeah.
That's
so.
that didn't even scratch the surface.
So for me, it was the hand under the Jeep, just
Ugh.
because it was so dragged out,
Oh,
where she
yeah.
just keeps fucking yanking on, and I'm just like, why? Yeah, just get the fucking chain, just swing
She
around with
couldn't
your
reach
foot, get the fucking magnifying glass and yoink it to you, like. fuck. But I mean, this movie constantly did things where you're like, okay, oh fuck, this is about to get fucking brutal. So that was clearly a choice. Because I'm sure there was a moment where the writer or the director or whoever was like, yeah, and then she's going to grab the chainsaw and cut off her hand.
Or
Oh no, what if she just fucking yanked it out and we just got a bunch of snapping
Right.
tendons
Ugh.
and fucking ripping skin? It was, ugh. Yeah, don't watch this movie if you can't deal with like excessive movie gore, and not like the first Evil Dead where it was or like the original Evil Dead movies, I guess, where it's like over the top, because those are gory movies,
right? But it's like Kill Bill. They aim for not realism,
right? Yeah, it's blood geysers and whatnot. Like
this is not that.
Yeah, in this movie, they're like, what if we played it mostly, almost completely like realistic?
What if we tried to traumatize?
When I was in high school, I think I was in ninth grade. It was a 7th or 9th grade, one or two. We had this like writing contest. We had like a writing project. We had to write a story.
7th or 9th grade. There's a big jump there, Tyler.
It was one of the two. I can't
Middle
remember.
school.
I can't remember. It was somewhere in there. It was 7th or 9th. One of the two. I can't remember which one. But I think we had the same teacher for both. I think she did like both English courses. But she had us do a writing thing. We had to write a story. And that was like my favorite thing to do in school was to write. Like I still like to write, but like I wrote this like horror story about this like Bigfoot. There's like this elderly couple that was having like this honeymoon to save their marriage, and they're having a honeymoon. And like the halfway through the story, like this park ranger comes in, he's all tore up, all stuff. Bigfoot's stalking him, whatever.
Uh-huh.
So like the finale was that the guy, the elderly guy, he had like his arm like snapped in half by the Bigfoot. And then his wife is about to die, and like he jumps across and he like stabs the Bigfoot through the eye with his jagged, his jagged bone. And that was like the finale. And I remember like my English teacher, like she gave me a D because it was too graphic. She said it was too graphic. Yeah, she said it was too graphic. She said it grossed her out.
Your teacher's a pansy.
She was an old woman. She was horrible. I think it was 7th grade. It was 7th grade. It was 7th grade.
See, I had the same thing. Basically the same thing happened, only it was a typing teacher, and I typed out a story like a guy kidnaps this girl and her husband saves her, and then at the end like he kills them both, and it was a Christmas story.
Nice.
So she gives me an F because she's like, this is not a Christmas story. I was like, it takes place on Christmas.
That is pretty much. I mean, that's the Die Hard argument.
You didn't say it had to be happy, bitch.
Yeah. She did, and she's supposed to be grading me on grammar and typing and stuff.
Right?
Yeah, that's my thing. Yeah.
Yeah, this was some old woman. Like she just did not appreciate me having graphic stuff in the story.
Some people just don't appreciate art, Tyler.
No, they don't.
And that's why we do horror.
That's a good finale. Yeah. Like, don't take that finale. That's a good finale.
Don't steal that idea.
That's how Jody kills Uncle Sam.
Perfect.
God, I wish I was an alcoholic again.
I'm just gonna keep putting this in the universe. That's gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's great. I enjoy being shit on by God.
All right.
This is numero uno on my vision board. I'll have Uncle Sam. And my vision board has a picture of Bulgaria and Uncle Sam.
You realize we have to burn Tyler to purify him, right?
Boy.
I prefer the chopping into pieces method.
What about you, Ben? What piece of gore made the biggest impression on you? What's
Eric.
that piece? Just the whole movie, just everything
they did to him.
Eric, that one character, because he absorbs every ounce of punishment that the writers can give to him.
Dear God, he got stabbed, then he got a needle beat across his fucking face and stabbed into it, like under his fucking eye. Yep. And then he kills his fucking girlfriend,
and then he gets nailed by a nail gun.
Gets riddled by nail guns.
Then he gets his arm split open by
a crowbar,
and then he takes 2 or 3.
He just gets the shit beat out of him by the fucking crowbar.
2 blows to the head.
Yeah. And he literally just sits there and he's like, well, this is how I die. She beats me.
Yeah. And then finally he gets stabbed in the gut. And he's just like, boy, I've lost a whole lot of blood. I'm just going to try to chill here.
Yeah. And it's not even like it killed him. It was more like he's just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. It's like that was like, that was the moment where he was like, hey guys, just kill me off real quick because my mom needs me to come home. It's like I thought this character was gonna die a while ago. I really just need you to finish it off so I can go home.
All of that punch in like 125, 130 pound man with like flattery hair and like he was portrayed as the pansy of the group, and the dude was just an absolute tank.
You're right. Yeah. Because a lot of horror movies, if they're not specifically torture porn, they won't put a character through quite that much without one of those scenes being their actual death.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there are characters who get stabbed, but then they pop up later. You know, it turns out they're not dead. But he he never popped up later. He just consistently got beat up.
Yeah, he just runs out of gas. Yeah, that's how he just putters to a stop. That's how he goes.
But yeah, power to him.
Good for him.
Right?
He kept fighting to the end. Yeah.
He
Good
was
for you,
he
buddy.
was such a boss that Deadite waited for him to die to take him over.
Right? Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fuck with this. I'm just gonna wait till he's done with it. All right, Eric. What about you? What was the moment of gore that made the biggest impression on you?
Well, there were honestly, I think that they were so well done. I just tried to find the credit for the person that did all the prosthetics and stuff like that. It's hard to pick a good. It's hard to pick. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go back to the very beginning when they were burning that woman alive, and I have to say, I haven't seen very many person getting burned to death like scenes that were really convincing, to be honest with you. Like the CGI is usually pretty,
the removing of the skin.
It's hard to get a good scene, and I completely understand why. Like,
Sure.
But they really did a good job with that scene, though. I think Herb getting all, dead-eyed out and looking out from the flames and confronting the dad and everything. I actually, like, that was a nice burning scene that I can, I really can't think of one that I've seen that actually looked better and more convincing than that. And that includes the Two-Face scene from like Batman and stuff. Like, they were going for realism and stuff, but it's just hard to do really good scenes of somebody burning to death.
Yeah,
they did a great job.
Practical fire stunts, you have to wear such thick clothing if you want to. Well, if you want to do it on your face, you have to wear like a mask and shit. Like,
if you want to talk about fire scenes, there's a pretty awesome fire scene in Maniac Cop 2. It goes for no shit. It goes for like 5 minutes straight. This guy on a fire, and he kills like a whole police station while he's on fire. It's amazing. Maniac Cop 2. Why cannot I cannot talk about this movie?
I thought really for sure you're gonna say Uncle Sam.
No. I know. I was getting ready to. The audience was gonna hear a thud.
No, that was disappointing. That was disappointing. Because after seeing what William Lustig and Larry Cohen did with Maniac Cop 2, then seeing that, it was like that.
Right.
But
and they my favorite part. I can't keep talking about Uncle Sam, but he didn't do anything except walk forward, and they showed every fucking angle of it. They got a lot of coverage for what was clearly their only fire stunt, and they used all of it.
But this was good though. Evil Dead, they did fucking fantastic.
Evil Dead remake, very well done. Good for you guys.
They didn't need to show it 17 times.
Right. Yeah.
From different angles.
The point. Pretty quick.
And that's a great way to open your film where you're like,
you're
like, strap in, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Yeah. Like
a dad's killing his daughter right here. Buckle up, fuckers.
Yeah. This movie, like, it really, like, the tone was different, but it reminded me a lot of Ash vs. Evil Dead. Yeah. Just the way, like, the opening, the big energetic open, which that's how all the episodes of Ash vs. Evil Dead always have like some like big, like,
yeah, they always have the smash cut title.
And I know we talked about the woods in this movie, how cool they looked. They looked a lot like the woods from Ash vs. Evil Dead. Yeah. This was filmed, and they used the same location for Ash vs. Evil Dead. It was
Bulgaria.
New Zealand. New Zealand. No, not Bulgaria.
Okay.
Of course not Bulgaria.
No. Why the fuck would we think Bulgaria?
I can't imagine why.
Yeah. God, I can't wait to see it when we're filming our Uncle Sam remake.
Exactly. Well, did you watch Man with the Screaming Brain with us?
No, I think I wasn't there for that.
My God.
That paints a pretty. I don't know if that is the best representation of Bulgaria, but if that's what Bulgaria is, like,
there should be a really high suicide rate.
Yeah, we're packing our own food and water when we go.
Hold on. Let me check our stats on Buzzsprout and make sure we don't have any Bulgarian listeners.
Not yet.
I'm not saying anything against the actual against Bulgaria, but if the Man with the Screaming Brain is accurate, like,
yeah. I mean, I've never seen that. I've seen plenty of movies filmed in Bulgaria. I've never seen that side of Bulgaria. I think that's the side they don't shoot on, and for some reason, Bruce Campbell is like, "This is where we're shooting the whole movie."
That side is like, what are we painting everything? It's like, what are we going for? Beige. What do you mean beige? Yes.
Beige and mud. Beige and mud.
Like, the cars, their clothing, the buildings, it's beige. It's like God doesn't exist there or something.
You just had this sense that everywhere you went in that movie, there was like dried mud like on all the floors. No matter what building you go in the hospital, dried mud footsteps all the way through. Like you just had a feeling that everything was muddy and gross.
Anyway, back to Evil Dead.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And I have a question actually for you guys about this movie. What do you think was the best callback?
The console. Oh yeah, the car. The car.
Yeah.
That was it.
Ooh, is everyone in agreement? The car was
the car was awesome because that is like the one constant amongst all. Well, Chainsaw 2, obviously, but and not even the double barrel shotgun set is even the first one, but
I appreciate
the car.
I appreciate the reused soundbite too, though.
Sure.
One by one, we will take you. Because that's one of the moments in the original that creeps me out the most is when she's floating and saying all that shit. Like, one by one, we will take you. Like, that's super creepy for some reason.
I love the callbacks in this because it wasn't like you see a lot of remakes and reboots and stuff like that where they have their callbacks and they really want to shove it in your face.
Right.
Remember this?
Yeah.
This had that stuff in it, but it wasn't ever like
2016 Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah. Remember that movie you really liked? Well, here's one you won't. That was like what it is.
Right.
Yeah. That's a whole movie.
And that's what I was talking about earlier. Like he did a lot of callbacks without ever feeling like he was ripping.
He wasn't.
It never felt
obnoxious.
cheap. Yeah, it never felt cheap.
It was very respectful of the source material while still like making it his own kind of story.
Yeah. I definitely appreciate what he did with that. That's why I'm reluctant to call it a remake.
That's what I think. It's a pseudo sequel.
That's how I think of it, especially since the director himself kind of implied that he considers it that, even though he obviously doesn't have the rights. But to be fair, like Evil Dead,
and I like that
Evil Dead
that
2,
term for it too, whether or not the reimagining that is.
Yeah, because Evil Dead 2, they didn't have the rights to the first movie, so you could make the argument that Evil Dead 2 isn't a true sequel to the original Evil Dead.
True. It's a pseudo remake sequel in one. Like
its status would be even more muddier than this. Really.
Right. Yeah. So I'm totally fine with having the headcanon that this is just like another thing that happened in the same universe.
Right.
Yeah. For me, this is this is like what if we were gonna. This is what happened in between like the movies and then Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
So let's go ahead and let's rate this movie. We'll go to our next segment here.
Not the quality of Campbell.
Not the quality of Campbell. We'll just rate the
1 out of 5
quality of.
We'll give our own rating.
Yeah, we'll give our own rating. Evil Dead in our next segment.
Cult quality. There we go.
What's our cult quality? Let's go to our next segment.
Shop smart. Shop S-smart.
So I'm going to start off here. So I'm just going to give it a 1 out of 5. I'm too tired to be creative. Or actually, no, I'll give it I'm going to give this, as far as remakes goes, I'm going to give this like a 4 out of 5 split tongues.
Ugh. Gross.
I loved it. It was good. I don't know. I didn't really care that much for the finale. I didn't hate it. I just didn't.
Right.
Some of the finale I just didn't care that much for. But and I remember it being so like for some reason I remember it being a lot different when I remember watching it in theaters. I don't remember ever seeing the creature, the thing's face.
Yeah.
I remember it being like constantly obscured by hair. And for some reason I remember like a tornado siren from like the minute the rain starts until it ends. For some reason I remember like just hearing
So I wonder if you're getting that mixed up with Silent Hill.
No, there was a siren playing. It wasn't constant,
right? But
it
came in every now. But for some reason I remember it being like in your face, like a siren going, and like the creature like constantly being like obscured by a hair in its face,
which it was for a large part.
For a large part, I remember it being that the whole way. But
no, at the very end,
I didn't hate it. I love this movie. This is a great flick. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Split tongue. I'm gonna give the quality of Campbell in it. This is a Bruce Campbell produced movie, so I mean, they can give that. I mean, I'm gonna give it a groovy as far as quality of Campbell goes because. He did produce this, and we do get a little, a stinger at the end, which I quite enjoyed. I remember seeing this in theaters, and my buddy and I were both big Evil Dead fans. We waited till the end, and there was a bunch of other people in the theater, but they were all like kids.
Yeah.
And I remember like the Ash thing comes up, and like me and my buddy are like, oh yeah, and like all these kids were like these teenagers, like, what the fuck was that? Who the hell is like? They were all confused because like if you didn't know who the fuck it was, it'd be like, what the fuck is this?
That's true, yeah.
But no, I loved it. So I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5, solid, and the quality Campbell, groovy.
Okay,
nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo that. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 violently removed hands. Yeah, it's a good remake in that it's not a remake. It's retelling a very similar story, but like the characters aren't named the same. It's implied that this could have taken place after the original. There's a lot of nods without it ever being a ripoff or a carbon copy. It was very well done. It was just an entertaining movie overall. I feel like it stands on its own very well. So yeah, I'm going to give it a groovy and a 4 out of 5 violently removed limbs.
I'll give it a 4 out of 5 as well. I think I'll give it 4 out of 5 needles to the eye.
Ooh,
Needles
that's
to
a good
the
one.
eye.
The only thing keeping this out of a 5 for me is the dog. It was just
Yeah,
it's completely
good point,
unnecessary.
good point. It was
Yeah.
totally unnecessary.
Damn it, Grandpa.
But I, like I said, this is very clearly a project that was treated with love and care, and somebody really thought they had something, and I enjoy the hell out of it.
I read too that Fede Alvarez and like one of his cohorts, they wrote it, but then they had like, I forget her name, but the woman who wrote Juno came in and did the dialogue. Like she had to do the dialogue because the Fede Alvarez and his cohort, like they English isn't their native language.
Oh, I see.
So the girl that wrote Juno came in to Americanize the dialogue.
Interesting.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, she did
It's
a
an odd
good job.
choice too.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, I didn't know that, but she did good.
Yeah.
What about you, Eric?
So I'm actually gonna go ahead and as far as remakes go, this for me is gonna get 5 out of 5 tree branches.
Say no more.
5 out of 5. I won't say where, but I think it was really good. I think this is a great example of how you can take a franchise and make it your own while also showing a lot of respect for the source material, which I think is something that we've lost a little bit in our entertainment industry. And so this was very well done. And of course it was, a lot of the same people that were involved in the original involved in the remake, but they clearly gave the director and the writer enough freedom to make the story their own. And so there was a big theme of like, to me, this is the story of an addict becoming clean. Like that's what they made the story, and they plugged it into the Evil Dead world in a beautiful way. And but as far as the quality of Campbell rating goes, I'm gonna give it a not groovy.
Whoa.
Yeah. No, this is a not groovy. There's no it wasn't a comedy. It wasn't
not.
which the
Far
Evil Dead
from
wasn't either. The original wasn't either, I guess. But they lost a lot of that kind of slapsticky influence that went into the original.
Lost all of it.
I think you're right. They stripped it out.
But I mean, to be fair, if this is just supposed to be a continuation of Evil Dead 1981, you wouldn't have that.
And
like,
it fits the tone well. And I think you're right.
Because Evil Dead 2 is where we get the introduction of all the absurdity and the slapsticks. Evil Dead 1981 is pretty straightforward.
And you rated the first one a groovy.
And I did. And you know what? Because I could kind of see where the campiness was seeded in. There were seeds in there. There weren't any. They stripped it out. And, that was actually an argument I was going to make against Tyler. But that does kind of, it's a double-edged sword. It comes right back at me, doesn't it?
All right.
But, and
because if you had just watched this, if you just watched Evil Dead 1981, and then watched Evil Dead, you wouldn't know there was anything. Yeah, we wouldn't know there was a tonal shift.
Which again, like I said, I'm giving this movie a 5 out of 5. Right. But we didn't get enough Campbell.
No, not
there
at
was
all.
Just a moment of Campbell.
This was probably the shortest Campbellio I think we've seen ever.
Yeah. So I've got to just in my guts just tell me it's got to be not groovy for me, but definitely a fucking fantastic movie. Like this was an amazing movie and a perfectly respectful homage to the originals.
Right.
All right. Well, fuck you, Eric.
Yeah. You give Evil Dead 1981 a groovy, and this one not groovy.
You gave Alien Apocalypse a groovy. You
did, you piece of shit.
I can't believe you would give Alien Apocalypse a groovy.
But if we're going off quality, Campbell,
hold on now. What does groovy mean to you guys?
Right. You're right. So that was us talking about Evil Dead 2013.
Actually, you'll notice I did not give it a Campbell rating because that's a fucking trap because of how not Campbell this is, I wouldn't.
So,
Right.
that
Also-
sounds like Ben might be with me. Oh, make it a
Yes.
deadlock, Ben. Do
Fuck
it.
off.
No, do it. Come on.
Also, I just have to point out,
Tempt me not. Satan.
I'm giving Eric shit for giving Alien Apocalypse a groovy, but that is certified groovy by all of us.
Yes, it is certified
Alien
groovy.
Apocalypse.
I didn't
certified
certify
groovy.
shit.
Well,
Ben,
based,
ben
based, off,
certified
I don't think
Alien
Ben would say
Apocalypse
that.
groovy.
based off quality Campbell, we always harp on that.
Yeah.
We're rating the quality Campbell, not the movie.
Yeah, you guys don't
You-
have to
you
change
can't-
your
you can't
rating, but
deny.
just admit I'm right.
Look,
Yeah.
look.
I'm right
All
on
I'm
this
saying is the 5 seconds we got of Bruce Campbell at the end is better than all of Menno's mind. So
That's
Facts. Facts. I'll give you that. I'll
All
give you
right,
that.
and
Come
with
on.
that, let's
that
close
bar
this
is on the
motherfucker out.
floor.
All right, so that was us looking at Evil Dead 2013, the remake, reboot, sequel, whatever you want to call it. It's a fantastic flick. Check it out. Find us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Rumble, Facebook, all the socials. You can find us at Cult Talk Net across the board. And Reddit. I always give out
Ooh,
Reddit.
yeah. Everyone
boy,
always leaves Ian alone with Reddit.
on Reddit.
r/Cult Talk Net. And you can hang out with Ian and
Yeah.
talk about Minno's mind.
Talk about literally anything.
Talk
Just
about
post
anything.
something in the
Anything.
fucking Jesus.
He's
or
so
you can go to
lonely.
r/Maniac Cop 2 and join me. It's just me in there, but there's a very
Yeah, I
long
bet it
thread.
fucking is.
I'll bet.
There's a very long thread of me just complimenting someone.
All
All right, ladies and gentlemen. With that, don't just stay groovy, stay certified groovy.
Man, we fucking nailed that.
That's it? That's the best you got?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.